Today we're going to talk about a very important Elliott Wave rule. This is Elliott Wave Cafe. I am your host, the Cowboy. Let's get started. Alright, so what you have in front of you, if you have a diagram of motive waves, the one on the left, it's an impulse, and the one on the right, it's a diagonal. These are the only two types of motive waves that we have. So we have motive waves and corrective waves. Motive waves, you have an impulse, and a diagonal. Corrective waves, you have a zigzag, a flat, and a triangle. That's all there is in Elliott wave. We're going to talk about one of the most important rules within an impulsive structure, within a motive wave structure. And that rule is, and it states, that wave 3 cannot be the shortest wave in a sequence. And it's a rule that tends to get overlooked, misplaced, mislabeled, by a lot of traders. So not only wave 3 cannot be the shortest wave in a sequence, but it needs to have a very clean 5-wave pattern inside it in an impulsive structure. In a diagonal structure, it would have to be either an impulse or a zigzag, depending on if it's an impulsive, if it's an ending diagonal, or if it's a leading diagonal. But the number one thing that you need to remember is that this wave 3, being in an impulse or being in a diagonal, cannot be the shortest wave. Now, you'll hear a lot of talk out there about how long this third wave supposedly is. There's no rule in the Elliott wave methodology that states that this wave 3 has to be a certain length. Nowhere it says that this wave 3 needs to travel 161.8 multiple of wave 1. It doesn't say that it needs to travel 261.8 multiple of wave 1. There is no or 420% or something like that, right? All it says is that this wave 3 cannot be the shortest wave. So what does that mean? That means that this wave 1 can be the longest wave. Wave 3 can be shorter than wave 1. But what that means is that this wave 5 cannot be longer than wave 3. Because in this scenario right here, you have a wave 3 that's the shortest wave. Wave 1 is long, wave 5 is long. So this wave 5, for you to have a complete sequence, this wave 5 has to terminate before it reaches 100% equality with wave 3. So that's very, very important. Most commonly, you will see wave 3 extended, which means that this is the wave 1, wave 2. So you have a short wave 1, a wave 2, wave 3 becomes extended. By extension, we mean anything that's usually bigger than 161.8, right? 261, 400%, something like that. Those are extended third waves. A normal wave 3 would reach 161%, but it doesn't have to do that, right? It can be lower than that. It can be 100%. It can be wave 1 and wave 3 can be equal, like that, roughly. Usually when this happens, you're going to get more of an extended fifth wave. That's a little bit higher than that. When you have equality between wave 3 and wave 1, you're going to get a wave 5 that's much, much longer. So as long as this wave 3, it's not the smallest wave in the sequence, you do not have a rule violation into the Elliott wave sequence. Now, would I count this as a 1, 2, 3, 4, 5? Maybe not. Maybe the way I would count it, it would be 1, 2, 1, 2, 3, 4, and 5, 4, and 5. So let's not just assume that just because you have two waves in equality and then a longer move upwards, that's necessarily a fifth wave, and call it a 5 and call it done. Because depending on the personality of this wave, depending on the trade, depending on the vehicle that you're trading, being a commodity or being equities or being cryptos, right? They have certain characteristics for a fifth wave. For example, in commodities, we know that wave fives are notorious, and you know, I'm much happier labeling a 5-wave advance extension in a commodity, you know, like you know, you look in grains, or you look in natural gas, or you know, gold, silver, stuff like that. Those fifth waves are very large. In some of the other ones, you know, they're really not. You don't find them that often. More often than not, this wave 3 would be the one that would be extended, you know, and then you would have a wave 5 that's smaller. But every once in a while, you find a wave 1 that's very long, and you would find, you know, a wave 3 that's a little bit smaller, which means that wave 5 has to be smaller than wave 3. So I just wanted to kind of put this out there because I think there's a little bit of a confusion on that, and I don't want it to make that clear. And, you know, if you're coming back to this channel, you know, I want you to have this lesson or this presentation available to you up there, that wave 3 cannot be the smallest wave in a sequence. Okay, so even if you have a wave 1 that's extended like that, again, and then you have a wave 3 that's a little bit longer, and then this wave 5 extends, right? That is not right. This wave 3 does not belong as part of the sequence. It's something else happening in here. All right, you might have an ABC, an X, you might have a 1, 2, 1, 2. You know, there's a couple of ways that this could be. And as long as this wave 3, it's the smallest wave, then you have a problem on your hands counting it in a 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 sequence. Now, when you look back at the diagonal, right, this could trick you as well, but it doesn't mean just because it's a diagonal, wave 3 can be the smallest wave. It cannot be, because both of these structures are motive waves. Motive waves, it means that they have 5 waves, and they have to respect the rules, you know, of a motive wave, which is wave 3 cannot be the shortest wave in a sequence. So in a diagonal, instead of, you know, having wave 4 separated from wave 1 and 2, that you know, the software will give you basically up here a big no-no that you cannot terminate into the territory of the wave 1. In a diagonal, it is required that wave 4 enters the territory of the wave 1 or in the space travel in the wave 2. So, but the rule does not change. Even if it comes in here, wave 3 cannot be the shortest wave. So you cannot have something like that and call it a diagonal, because this wave 5 is bigger than wave 3, wave 1 is bigger than 3, wave 3 becomes the smallest. So however you count this, you have to change it. You could be a 1, 2, 1, 2, and you're beginning something bigger. Okay, so it's exactly this, and this can be, you know, even if it's an extended diagonal, if it's an expanding diagonal where wave 1 is the large, it's smaller than wave 3, wave 5 is you know, wave 3 is bigger than wave 1, wave 5 is bigger than wave 3. It doesn't matter. Wave 3, it's not smaller than wave 5, so it's than wave 1. So it cannot be the wave 3 to be the smallest wave. So hopefully I made that pretty clear. And that's how it is. And this doesn't matter if it's a leading diagonal of the lows, or if it's an ending diagonal that finishes, let's say, you know, a fifth wave of a larger degree count or something like that. Right, so always think about this third wave inside there. And the other one that gets often overlooked, it's this, right? That wave 3 needs to have a 5-wave move in there. I'm going to go ahead and put this in there. References show lines. That's very important that you can see a pretty clean 5-wave advance in this third wave to start to qualify for that. And then it's also the personality of this wave, right? It cannot be a wave that it's kind of moving sideways like that. It needs to be sharp, it needs to be strong, it needs to be you know, you can kind of clearly see that it's got power, it's got strength. So that's a third wave. And you know, in a diagonal it's a little bit different, because you have zigzags inside these moves. And you know, being a leading or an ending diagonal, you know, with the difference being that in a leading diagonal you could have actually these waves being impulses, and they don't have to be zigzags, but you need to have overlaps in between those waves. So always pay attention to this third wave. It's the one that gets most of the time overlooked. You know, we're rushing into kind of identifying a pattern. It looks pretty good. We're excited. You know, this thing looks good. You know, you have a 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, and then all of a sudden this wave 3 is smaller than wave 1, or it's the smallest in the sequence, and then you know, you got a trouble in your hands. So let's not do that. I just wanted to kind of throw that out there, into this quick little lesson in here, guys. Don't forget, there is 3 more days into my pro room of a huge discount. I have a 25% discount for the yearly membership, so it's darn cheap. And then you also have 2 months free for the price of 1, and that goes on until the end of this month. We are on the 27th, so by the 30th at midnight, I'm going to shut down this promotion. Don't forget to subscribe and like, give me a thumbs up, and visit us in the pro room if you want to try our services, and I'll see you on the next videos. Thank you for watching. Bye bye.